Imagine a civilization with millions of people, massive cities, pyramids taller than anything Europeans could build at the time, a calendar system more accurate than the Greeks had, and then, within just 100 years, almost all of it is abandoned. The cities get swallowed by the jungle, millions of people simply disappear. This isn't fiction. This is the Maya civilization, and to this day, archaeologists still argue about what really happened. Was it war? Drought? Did they destroy themselves? Chapter 1. The Golden Age. Around 250 AD, historians mark the start of what's called the Classic Period of the Maya. And honestly, it's impressive. Quick side note, actually. The name Maya isn't even what they called themselves. It most likely comes from Mayapan, one of the last great Maya cities which the Spanish encountered when they arrived in the 16th century. They took that one city's name and applied it to the entire civilization. The people themselves never thought of themselves as one unified Maya. They identified with their own city-states. People from Tikal, people from Copan, not the Maya. That label came from outsiders, centuries later. Okay, back to the story. The Maya never had a single empire like Rome or Egypt. Instead, there were dozens of independent city-states spread across modern-day Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and Honduras. Cities like Tikal, Calakmul, and Copan had up to 100,000 residents each. At a time when the biggest cities in Europe might have had a tenth of that. They built pyramids up to 70 meters tall. No pack animals. No wheeled transport. Just human labor, stone, and a brutally efficient system of organization. Then there was their knowledge. The Maya developed one of the most accurate calendar systems in the ancient world. They calculated the orbit of Venus down to a few minutes. Without telescopes, just generations of careful observation. Their mathematicians understood the concept of zero centuries before it reached Europe. In short, this wasn't a primitive culture. This was one of the most advanced civilizations of its time, which makes what happens next all the more shocking. Between 800 and 900 AD, something strange starts happening. City after city simply stops finishing construction projects. The elaborately carved stone monuments that rulers used to celebrate their victories become rarer, and then they stop appearing altogether. In Copan, for example, the last major temple was started around the year 800. It was never finished. Archaeologists found half-carved stonework, just abandoned mid-project, as if the workers dropped everything in the middle of a shift. So, what was going on? The first clue: war. Not just any war, but an escalation unlike anything seen before. For centuries, Maya city-states fought each other, but mostly limited conflicts aimed at capturing prisoners for rituals, not total destruction. But during this period, that changes. Inscriptions from this era describe increasingly brutal wars. Entire royal dynasties get wiped out. Cities get burned to the ground, not just conquered. It looks like a system collapsing in on itself. City-states devouring each other as resources get scarcer. Which brings us to the second clue, possibly the most important one of all. The drought that changed everything. In the 1990s and 2000s, scientists started doing something nobody had done before, analyzing lake sediments and cave stalagmites in the region to reconstruct the climate of that era. What they found was eerily precise. Right during the period when Maya cities collapsed, the region was hit by a series of extreme droughts. Some of the worst in over 2,000 years. Some estimates suggest rainfall dropped by 40 to 50%. And here's where it gets especially brutal. The Maya may have set their own trap. Their agriculture was incredibly efficient for its time, but it relied on clearing massive amounts of land for maize farming to feed a growing population. Over centuries, more and more rainforest got cut down, and rainforest, as we know today, regulates the local water cycle. Fewer trees mean less evaporation, less cloud formation, less rain. In other words, it's entirely possible the Maya made the drought that eventually destroyed them. Worse, through their own farming practices. Picture the situation: population at its peak, soil exhausted from centuries of intensive farming, and then the rain stops. Not just one bad year, but decades of drought. Harvests fail, famine spreads. And what does a society do when resources run out and population keeps growing? It fights over what's left. That's exactly why wars escalate during this period.